Hi everybody, welcome back to Adventures in Music with me, Jim, where we listen to, talk about and do all sorts of things music-y. Now, I made a blog post about this a couple of years ago, but I still feel strongly about it and I thought it'd make a really good video for today. So, what am I talking about? It's Spotify Wrapped. It's that time of year again when my social media gets absolutely flooded with Spotify Unwrapped posts. People proudly sharing the data that, well, let's be honest, Spotify has convinced you to advertise for them. It's brilliant marketing, absolutely brilliant. It's a humdinger of a campaign, isn't it? You know what? You pay us to use our product, you pay us to advertise our product. It's got me thinking though, has streaming actually changed our relationship with music, and not necessarily for the better? Today we're going to be talking about streaming, the value of music, small artists, and the threat of AI-generated music. It's a biggie. Grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and let's have a chat. I'll be honest, I was an early adopter of Spotify. 2008, it arrived in the UK, and I was in absolute shock. You're telling me I can pay a subscription and have access to everything instantly? It was like having the keys to the greatest record shop in the world and someone saying, hey, you go, Jim, go and live in there. It'll be brilliant. And you know what? For a while, it was absolutely fantastic. It was like the honeymoon period when you're first married. I was doing it everywhere. Did it in the car, in the sitting room, obviously in the bedroom, in the kitchen, in the bathroom. Sneaked it in a couple of times at work. I tried it on every device that I owned. I was so genuinely close to getting rid of all my CDs and all of my records. But after a while, something strange happened. When you've got an infinite choice, everything starts to feel a bit meaningless. I don't know about you, but if you get to a bit that you don't like or something that doesn't quite gel, you skip. You jump over tracks. You sort of don't live with the awkwardness. With a record or a CD, less so with the CD, but certainly with the record, you tend to, when things are not quite as they ought to be, you don't live with them anymore. You don't bother. And it turns out Shakespeare is right, that all that glistens is not gold. What I realised was this. I love music that I can hold. You know, vinyl, records, CDs, mini discs. Each one is a physical moment in time. I remember where I was when I got it, who I was with, what I was doing, my moment in my life. You just don't get that relationship with a playlist. When somebody asks, what's your backstory behind that Taylor Swift track you streamed last week? You probably don't have one. It came, it went, like fast food for the ears. Music used to be a signpost in our lives. It used to signal events, things, moments, memories. Now, it's just wallpaper. And here's where things get properly messy. Spotify pays around 0.003 pounds, not pence, per stream. To make a pound, someone needs to listen to your song, I think it was about 334 times. To make even a modest living, you'd need 11.5 million streams a year. For a small independent artist, it's impossible. And it's not just the tiny payout. Spotify uses something called Stream Share. Now, I did talk about this in the blog, but I don't know if I've ever talked about it on here before. But Stream Share, it means big labels get preferential deals. They get more money per stream because they've negotiated better terms. So there's this big pot, the big bucket of money, this is what's collected. And out of that, the money goes to the artists. But Spotify now refuses to pay artists for any track that doesn't reach 1,000 plays in a year. These plays still count, they still collect money, and they still accumulate, but it goes into the pot. But it doesn't give it back to the artists who created it. And that just seems really unfair. So money collected for small artists now goes to the big artists. Your subscription still goes to Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift, not the person you actually think you're supporting, not the person you're listening to. Now, that really is grim. And just when you think it can't get any worse, it does. We now have AI-generated music. Tracks created not by a human being, not by emotion, not by experience, but by algorithms, by prompts, designed to feed playlists. These tracks aren't made to move you. They're made to blend in, to fill space, to generate streams. There's no overheads, no royalties, no humans to pay. It's the musical equivalent of empty calories. And for small artists, real, breathing human beings, this is brutal. Because Spotify doesn't care if a track is human or machine made. All they care about is keeping people on the platform, listening. It's the same with social media. It just needs people to keep scrolling, stay on the platform. AI music is cheap. It's limitless. It pushes real musicians further down the algorithm. Imagine being a songwriter who spent years on an album and being buried by a bot that can generate 1,000 tracks in a day. We are dangerously close to music that has no soul, no craft, and no story. Just background noise designed to keep you from pressing pause. And this is why I find myself at a bit of a crossroads. As a listener, I don't think I'm going to lose much from stepping away from Spotify. I've got plenty of music. I've got 1,200 records behind me. There's 1,700 CDs around the corner. I've got 400 mini discs. I've got FLAC files. I've got DVDs, Blu-rays, and all the new music I could possibly discover through this channel. I still stream my music, but on my own terms. I do it via Plex. I've digitised my entire CD collection and a fairly decent proportion of my records behind me here, and play them through Plex, so I can still access them anywhere in the world. All my music. And as an artist, my own music gets so few streams that removing it from Spotify won't make the slightest difference. It won't make a dent, but it might make a point. A point to who? I don't know. Nobody cares. Maybe just to myself. I want music to matter again. I want to choose what I listen to intentionally, and I want that connection back. And then there's the more than questionable but investing of profits by Daniel Elk, Spotify's CEO, into AI war machines. That's really not cool. I've got a choice where to spend my money, and I choose not to spend it on killing people. Now, I don't know if I'm being melodramatic with that, but that's kind of how I feel about it. So, here's the big question. Has streaming made music better? Or has it made it more disposable? And what does the rise of AI music mean for the future of real artists? Now, I'm not saying that everyone has to stop using Spotify. Of course I'm not. And it'd be a ludicrous thing to do. Everybody uses it. It's an amazing tool for discovery, for going down rabbit holes. But if you want to listen to exciting original music, support the artist directly. Buy downloads. Pick up merch. Go to gigs. It really makes a difference. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Are you still streaming? Of course you are. Everyone's still streaming. I think I'm the outlier as the one who's not. Do you buy physical media? What do you think about AI-generated music? As always, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you on the next video whenever and whatever that is. And until then, this is Jim, over and out.